Jonathan Huberdeau benched for the third period last night in the Flames' comeback victory over the Predators. Shout out Ryan O'Reilly, played in that game. Is shit hitting the fan for the Flames already? What do they do with Huberdeau, who is in year one of an 8-year contract with a $10.5 million cap hit? If you don't remember, he was the centerpiece, he and Mackenzie Weegar, of the Matthew Tkachuk trade, and signs this big extension. We all at the time were like, good trade for the Flames.
Yeah.
Did that, got through that as best as they could. He has a bad first year, 55 points after having 115 points in his final year in Florida. Has a bad first year, but you could say whatever. Didn't like the coach. He's in it for the long haul here, and they're benching him however many weeks into the season.
Yeah, for the entire third period. In a game that they won, by the way, which maybe,
So it's the thing,
maybe the worst it worked.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the worst part of it is that it worked. Yeah, on the topic of last year, I'm willing to excuse it just because the vibes were so bad in Calgary last year that literally everybody wanted out this offseason. So I think that we can kind of throw that one away. The fact that it's still not working and it's year one and they're tied into him and Nazem Kadri for $17.5 million through 2029.
And Kadri has sucked too.
Yeah, and it's just not working in Calgary. And like you're saying, is shit hitting the fan already? I wouldn't even use the word already. It's just been hitting the fan. It remains on the fan because it was there all year last year. And we mentioned it last week, Noah Hannafin cut off his contract extension talks with the Flames just because he wants to see the direction of this franchise, where they're headed, which indicates, and I think this talk started after they lost the Heritage Classic game, but they
lost to the Oilers. Ew.
Right. I know you have 50. You are responsible for 50% of the Oilers wins this season, which is tough. Maybe the worst thing that you could say about an NHL franchise right now. But yeah, it does seem like the Flames are heading towards blowing it up. But the thing is, I don't even know what that looks like because they have nice pieces there. Their roster isn't bad. We're only a couple years removed from this team being a lot of people's Stanley Cup picks, and they didn't change a whole lot. Yeah, well, I guess you lose Gaudreau, you lose Tkachuk, but we were talking about at the beginning of last year, the Tkachuk trade seemed like a win for them because they got a great player in return. And they got a defenseman when they needed the help. Yeah. So this roster should be way better. Should be delivering a way better result, but it's just not. It's not working. Guys want out. But I don't know what it looks like to blow that team up when you have $17.5 million tied up in two players who are going to be stuck there through their mid to late 30s.
Worth noting that Huberdeau has a no move for the first 6 years of the contract. I don't imagine that could possibly be an issue. I think the issue with trading him, I think he would happily waive that. I think the issue would be who the fuck takes him on at $10.5 million? Nobody has cap space.
And if you're Calgary, do you want to pay $5 million or whatever it is for the next 7, 8 years? Just to get him off your roster.
So if I'm Calgary and I'm trading him, I'm starting talks with teams as saying we'll eat $2 million. You could have Huberdeau for the next 7.5 years at 8.5.
$2 million for the next 7 years is still really shitty.
Awful, but he's got to be fucking miserable. We knew that he was miserable last year. And again, you could say that was the team, that was
Sutter
the coach.
Problem, yeah.
Sutter, he's gone. Okay, you got a new guy. What's the fucking excuse now? And sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. We see a lot of times in other sports, guys will go sign a big contract, and after a year, trade him somewhere else. It ends up working out there, but God, what are you giving up if you're another team to take that on?
Yeah, if Calgary does decide that they are going to blow it up, they become a really interesting seller because, again, they have players that will will be will be wanted, and they could help a lot of teams that need help this season if they start selling off pieces. I mean, you have Elias Lindholm, who was talked about over the summer. He's still a pending UFA. Andrew Mangiapane has a year left after this one.
He's like, somebody, I'm going to cross-check somebody in the head.
And then on the back end, Noah Hannafin, Chris Tanev, and Nikita Zadorov, all pending UFAs heading into this summer. And I mean, even if you wanted to discuss the possibility of trading Rasmus Anderson, like a lot of players that could be wanted. And then, I mean, even I don't know how palatable it would be to help the Oilers, but like the Oilers would definitely be interested in some of those guys.
You know what? My most fun and sad fun fact about this Flames team is they're 4-7-1, sixth in their division, and the only reason they're just sixth in their division is who else plays in their division?
The Edmonton Oilers
and
the San Jose Sharks.
The San Jose Sharks. So the only reason they're only in sixth is because
saved by the bowl.
What's that?
Saved by the bowl.
Exactly. The only reason they're only in sixth in their division is because the two worst teams in the league are in their division.
I mean, that brings
one
up
of whom has beaten them.
That brings up a good point too. That like the Flames and the Flames fans. Well, I guess not the Flames fans because they're still dealing with it. But like the Flames have to feel very fortunate that like almost every other team in Canada sucks ass as badly as they do right now. Because you've got the Oilers, you've got the Senators, you've got the Maple Leafs.
Bite your tongue. No.
I mean, the Maple Leafs are quote unquote galvanized, but there has been a whole lot of anger and animosity towards Canadian teams to start the season that like the Flames kind of aren't even registering on a lot of people's national radar because they're just not as interesting as those other teams and how badly they've been fucking up.